Welcome to the Koch Media PrimeTime stream event. We will get to know more about the new gaming label from Koch Media called Prime Matters. We'll probably see the next Payday game, Payday 3, as well as the next Painkiller game from Saber Interactive, as well as maybe the Switch version of Kingdom Come Deliverance and a variety of other games. So very much looking forward to that stream. So 12 titles have been announced to be published by Prime Matter. Those are Payday 3, Crossfire Legion, King's Bounty 2, The Last Right Crew, Encased, Gungrave Gore, The Chant Final Form, Dorman, Echoes of the End, Scars Above, and Painkiller.
Hello there guys, my name is Opal Cadman and welcome. Today I have three main tasks. The first one is to introduce you to Koch Media's brand new premium gaming label. Number two is to take a deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number three is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world. I want to welcome streamers who are co-streaming this today. Hello. Some of you guys are guys who I have looked up to and watched for many years.
Thank you.
And speaking of people
maybe
who
you
I've
can
looked
tell
up
some
to
people
for
about
many
our
years,
channel because nobody's watching it.
I'm so proud to introduce
Except you.
Jeff
You are
Keeling,
great
who will be helping me co-host us through this entire list of games. Jeff, how's it going?
Thanks, Opal. It is so great to be here with you for the first ever live stream from Prime Matter. I was honored yesterday to reveal the label to the world at the Summer Game Fest kickoff event, and wow, you've got a lot of games there in that sizzle, over a dozen games. So I know today you're going to go a little bit more in depth to talk about all these games, to talk to a lot of the developers. But for those of you that might have missed it yesterday or just want to see it again, let's kick things off with a look at that announcement sizzle reel for Prime Matter.
Sometimes I ask myself what it all means.
Let's begin.
Is that who you are?
My purpose makes me who I am.
I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile.
Being relied on to succeed where others would fail.
Prime Matter.
Yes, guys, you just saw 12 games and counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits, I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media. It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making.
Okay.
The new label will lead through creativity and expression, with games
what
that
is weird
involve
is that I'm
players
pressing the
with
mute
larger
button
than
and
life
it's actually
storytelling,
recording,
create
as it seems.
incredible moments, and above all,
It's not at full
they're fun.
volume.
The team behind Prime
So
Matter
sorry
is a
about
melting
the
pot of
background
incredible
noise
talent,
if you hear them.
led by
I thought
seasoned
by muting
industry
the
veterans
streaming
and
microphone actually you
complemented
would
by
hear.
a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming
So I'm not the only one
experts.
having problems to
The team
pronounce Koch
behind are
Media in an
gamers at
English
heart,
way.
working with such a wide range of passionate developers
Painkiller is a
producing
very
games together
outstanding
by
franchise.
gamers for gamers. And that being said, for all you
What's it all
keen-eyed
about
individuals
Painkiller?
out there, you would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game that comes from the Embracer family itself. Jeff got to sit down with Todd Hollinshead and talk all about Painkiller.
Originally developed by
All right,
People
you
Can
saw
Fly.
the news yesterday. Yes, there is a new Painkiller coming, and Todd is joining me now to maybe give us a few more details. I know this is kind of a fresh project for the team at Saber, and you guys, first of all, I love that you and Tim Willits are there, continuing to build out Saber.
People Can Fly, the
And
original
Painkiller,
developers moved on
the
from
franchise,
Painkiller to Gears of War,
you and I are both
Bulletstorm,
OG.
Gears of War
We
Judgment,
remember,
Fortnite, and
it was
Outriders.
it probably 15 years ago at this
To
point?
develop or
Yeah, it's been a while. Closer to two decades than one.
My God. All right. Well, but it's
And
one of those
Saber
classic
is
games.
new to the
Let me ask you, from a
franchise
Prime Matter
that
perspective,
many
you've
people
been in the
probably don't
industry
know,
like
but
me
it's
all
a
those
first-person
years, and we
shooter
remember that game. Why was
set
this a
in the
franchise that
hell,
you guys
actually.
wanted to sort of bring back?
Well, Painkiller, when I played it back in the early 2000s, this was a game that had, it was dark, a little twisted, intense, cool
And
guns.
Saber Interactive
These are the
developed
things that,
games
kind
like
of hit the
SnowRunner,
nail on
Killing
the
Floor
head of
2,
what appeals to me in
Vampire,
a video
Witcher
game, both
3,
as, as a
together with
fan
CD
and then
Projekt
also
Red,
as a
of
publisher
course.
at Saber. So, we're
So
hoping
mostly
to capture
they
those same
made
sort of
some
elements
ports
and
of
bring those
Vampire
into
for
the new game.
Switch, Witcher 3
Yeah,
for Switch. But
you
they also have
guys are
some
certainly
first-person shooter
masters of doing
experience with Killing
shooters
Floor
from
2.
all your time at id, and Painkiller, does have a lot of that DNA of
They also
fast-paced
worked on Quake
action with a little bit of
Champions.
a twist to it. And
And
the fact that you
Halo,
guys are working with Prime
for
Matter is
Xbox
also
360.
exciting. Brand new publisher, brand new label. What do you think of the fact that they're doing this label, and it's such a diverse lineup of companies and partners around it? I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to see a new label announced. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't. And I think that within the Embracer Group, it's just a business that is growing. We've got great leadership at the top, and so Koch Media is wanting to expand their publishing. And I think that the name they chose, Prime Matter, sort of is it's sort of like the primordial soup of putting together stuff from nothing. So it kind of makes me think of this is what we do when we make video games. You start with Pixel Zero, and then at the end of the day, you make a game. So I feel like that that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber and our partnership, but across the Embracer Group as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they have a lot of games in development, but the fact that you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting. And I know, fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it, but you're kind of in the early stages of development now on this.
Yeah, super early. And, if anything that I would share, I'd probably get assassinated for back home once I got back to the developer, because, all these, the first stuff that comes out almost always gets sort of iterated on and changed. And so we're trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
All right. Well, we'll be waiting for it, and we know with you involved, it's going to be something very special. Fast-paced action, I have no doubt. So, new Painkiller coming soon from the team at Saber, published by Prime Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Jeff.
I really can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it. I think we're going to get something pretty special when they are ready to share more. So, exciting stuff in that sizzle reel, Painkiller, Payday, but I know there's a lot more we're here to talk about today as well, right, Opal?
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games under development right at this minute. We're so excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to. However, before you see some of the content that we show you today, I do have to make it clear that some of this is pre-alpha, alpha, high-level concept, and some of it is about to release right around the corner. So please keep that in mind when you're viewing today's show. That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong? I got to speak with the developers of The Chant, work in progress title, about their game and who they are.
Our game is about a group of people who go to a spiritual retreat to seek enlightenment, and they basically get a little more than they bargained for. And your character has to deal with her own personal issues as well as the cosmic terrors that become awakened.
Cool. So what type of genre is this game?
And it's a bit hard to pin down with the with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And what was the thinking behind that genre? Is it something that you guys like, or is it just it came left field? What's your decision behind that?
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team have a background in third-person sandbox games.
And here's why I preferred the Tribeca Film Festival style, where the developers just talked about the game, and there was no interviewer, especially not one who was on the payroll for the publisher. Obviously,
to take that background and play around with.
I hope we will see some gameplay or concept footage.
Why did you decide to go with that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So what was the idea behind that?
We thought it was just kind of an interesting territory to explore. There is, there's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth with kind of more action-oriented and exploratory game mechanics. We felt was a fresh take on the horror space.
So kind of speaking about your inspirations and stuff, what video games, real life media has inspired you to create this title?
Well, going way back when Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Alone in the Dark, Eternal Darkness. So a lot of games are very inspirational to us. Our game actually started off as a game with fixed camera angles and so forth, and then we over the course of development, just especially really focusing on bringing more of an action element to it. We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it, especially on the melee side. Those were things that weren't too prevalent in our original concept, and a lot of those things are just kind of based on we're a very small team at first. We're still a relatively small team, but every new person that joins, brings something new to the mix. So I'd say on that end, the game has evolved in scope and depth of gameplay.
Awesome. Kind of sticking on that point of, you got a small team, there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. What was the hardest part of making the game so far?
The hardest part was probably trying to make a game that has more realistic production values.
It might be
because
this
that's
very
where
vague interview.
Our background comes from. On a smaller scale.
So it's interesting that while the
for us, we had to be very strategic,
team grew,
utilizing
it got more
Unreal.
actiony.
We wouldn't have been able to build this game without utilizing an engine like Unreal. Previously, we had worked on more proprietary technology. And
So
that's
we
also
haven't
great
seen a
because
single
new
image
people
of the
that join
game.
the
They're
team
just talking about
can
the
get up and running on the engine
inspirations
quite
and stuff.
quickly. In
I
addition
hope
to
we will
that,
still
we've
see
been
the
using
game,
photogrammetry from the start for both our environments. All of our characters are also scanned actors, and we're using, also tapping into a lot of what's going on in our city. Vancouver has a pretty big, as efficiently as possible.
So you've mentioned like experience in the past and also kind of how rich Vancouver is. How much does that come in handy when you're working on the game?
Oh, it's been extremely beneficial. Vancouver, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together at Rockstar and United Front Games, and we also have people who have worked at the Coalition and EA, as well as some smaller independent studios as well. And in addition to that, having the film industry here, where we can utilize local talent. We're working with union actors. We're scanning actors as well that we're using for our characters, and we're actually currently auditioning a couple remaining characters for the game, and as well as doing the finishing touches on our new motion capture studio. So we're going to be doing a full cinematics push over the coming months. That's a really exciting
over the coming months. So nothing
place to be right now.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of
exciting things,
when it comes to this game, what are you most proud of at the minute where you are?
I think the thing I'm the most proud of is just what a small focused team can do when they're all sharing the same goal and vision. As I said earlier, we come from different backgrounds, but everyone's managed to come together and really deliver an amazing amount of work for the team size we have. And it's really exciting to be working on a smaller team again, and just having that kind of energy where you're working with everyone on the team day to day.
Yeah, I imagine that is a lot different to probably what some of you are used to coming from those massive studios. So finally, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch, and also, being featured on their brand new label?
Is it really Koch in English?
It's truly an exciting place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and
it's probably one of the reasons
this partnership is really helping to provide more reach,
because the pronunciation of the publisher
more resources,
name is
but
difficult.
I think most importantly also just having a partnership on getting feedback and helping to really expand and push the vision of the game. We've already received a lot of feedback on the title, and being a small team, we're often in our own little echo chamber, and even in a short period of time, we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback, and the game has improved considerably since then.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome to talk to you and find out a little bit more about what you guys are going to be offering for the new label. And I can't wait to let gamers finally get their hands on the content. So thank you for your time.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an adventure through the Holy Roman Empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action RPG may have a home on the Switch. Opal sat down with Warhorse Studios to try and get to the bottom of this.
Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Switch. That is quite some news.
Yes, that's true. Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as you said, it's about gamers, devs, and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened in the end of last year. We Warhorse Studios were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation and Xbox, but someone most likely ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility that Kingdom Come Deliverance could go on the Switch. However, Nintendo Japan took this information, some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden, it was the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch. But as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that. Now, a few months back, and we think it's it was still somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database. Nintendo of Spain posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of open world games, and they were promoting already existing open world games on the Nintendo store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually there was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance, of course not, because as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming, is it not coming? But for
the
us,
PR
actually,
got so good that they started to develop the game.
About that until that time.
Or the version
for
Switch.
us, we started to think. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of buzz. People are actually talking about us, reaching out to us. Like they seem to want Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Nintendo Switch. So we started to think. And since we are already in the Koch Media family or the Embracer family, and there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community feedback we got, of course, was a big drive for this entire project, but this comes from our general background. So think of the Kickstarter project we had in the day. So without the community, there wouldn't be any Warhorse Studios or any Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we always try to be very close to them and working together with them, and even coming up with crazy ideas together with them. So for instance, the Savior Schnapps, our own liquor we created later, was actually a community idea. We have our own beer brand. We recently released a blue brick set, like a building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance buildings. And now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar, which should give you the real medieval smell. In that case, I must say, medieval smells actually pretty well. And we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise project is a Farkle boxed board game, kind of. So Farkle, for those who don't know, that's like this Kingdom Come Deliverance minigame, a dice minigame you can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios, we are coming up with a boxed version you can get and play Farkle at home against your friends or against your family or whatever. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But generally, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, just check the Warhorse Studios social media accounts. You get all the information you need there.
Ooh, my favorite. Soapy hot news. Speaking of soapy hot news, how do you feel about Warhorse being under the new label Prime Matter?
It's a huge honor, of course. We were working together with Koch for over 4 years already. In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family. So that was a big thing. And now being able to take part at the beginning of something new, be there when there's a new label being created, that is a big thing for us. And especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner already, that is really cool. And we are.
It's really cool that the community actually created so much buzz that they started to develop the Switch version. And Saber Interactive has much experience with the Switch.
So are we. Thank you very much, and
Witcher,
see you.
for example.
From internet rumors back to reality, we will have more on Kingdom Come Deliverance for Switch as we get it.
All right, let's move from RPGs to FPS games. Final Form, which is a working title, is an action-packed sci-fi adventure where you play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
was actually the same trailer that we saw yesterday.
Hi, we are Raycon Games, and what you have just seen is the first glimpse of our upcoming game codenamed Final Form.
Final Form is an action-packed, epic sci-fi FPS in which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
At the heart of the game is a mystery and alien worlds to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In Final Form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement, being a machine unrestrained by human weaknesses. There are numerous abilities and gadgets that come with your robotic body, so you can give yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess blazing away in a spectacular ballet of destruction.
Raycon is located in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all over the world. The studio was founded and is managed entirely by game developers. Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon is over 50 brilliant game creators, and counting. We are not a huge team, but what we love to do is to evolve together with our projects, constantly finding smarter and better ways to achieve something truly unique. We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best results and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first, before we can pour all of that love into a game. The partnership with Koch Media has been very fruitful and inspiring. We're happy to be in the avant-garde of the upcoming new label. We're looking forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of the show and see you around.
I have to say, guys, I love the soundtrack from Final Form. Moving on to our next game, which is just as special. What if you took Lovecraftian and Gygax themes and mixed it all together with hardcore RPG elements? That's exactly what Massive Works Studios are doing. I got to sit down with their CTO to talk about their game, Dolmen.
World premiere?
Let's speak now to Gabriel Ferreira, CTO of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate. Well, so let me tell a little bit about what Dolmen is. Dolmen is that kind of game where the hero needs to save everyone from an alien threat. Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward. Yeah, that's the kind of game that Dolmen is not about. In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet, but you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone. It's just a job. But we hope that the players consider the humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come to mind along with that job. Taking all that part, and yes, Dolmen is also about fighting all kinds of monsters and struggling. After all, it is a hard game. It's a hardcore game. It's inspired on Souls-like, so yes, you're going to die a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. So when thinking about the name Dolmen, obviously you guys went for that for like a very specific reason. What's the thinking behind the name? Why did you go for Dolmen?
So there was many things that came to our mind when describing the name of the game. Dolmen, which means a single chamber tomb, a megalithic tomb. We thought it would be a good word to describe this stone, this crystal that we have that is related to that. In many ways, everyone that deals with this crystal in the game is close to bringing problems to everyone that is around. And we wanted this to be the main piece of the game.
Cool. Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already out there in the world. But how long has it taken to get to this point?
Oh, it's been a long journey since the beginning of the project. We started at late 2016, so it's been almost 5 years now, and probably just a bit more to come out. But we and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had since the beginning, either our community, the Kickstarters, and you guys, I believe we would not be here right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it. You know, are there other games that inspire you? And also, what games do the teams like?
First of all, regarding inspirations, a lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love Souls-like games. So Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations. But we drew inspirations from all different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect, and also not only inspirations in other games, but also inspirations in movies and Lovecraftian stories. For example, Alien and Geiger, and those were our main inspirations. About games that we most like,
okay, stop it. Enough with inspirations.
Likes. It's really hard to say because we have a team that ranges from
so the trailer was shown for the
Dota,
very first time,
CS, and Souls-like games.
And it took
but what I can really tell you
to get
is
to this
that
point, and also
everyone of
Kickstarter
our
was
team
mentioned.
is passionate about the project
really
because
interested
they
when we will see the first gameplay
love doing what they do, which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands
But
on
apparently
Dolmen, all these inspirations that have come in. So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route? Was there any other routes that you considered at first?
Yeah. Well, the humans are afraid of what they don't know, and the universe has infinite possibilities. There is always something unknown that we can explore in space. So that sci-fi setting really
but it's not there are not many games coming out of Brazil that gain worldwide international attention, so it's pretty
everything
cool
that
this
our
game is in
insane
development
minds
right now.
could come with. So we wanted
And
to
hopefully
use
we'll
sci-fi
see more
as
at
a team
Gamescom.
to
Maybe we can
to
play the game at
present
Gamescom.
the player
They seem to be
a world of
further
unknown that
ahead.
he can fear and he can enjoy it.
Would be
No,
boost of the Prime Matter gaming label.
And while we're kind of on the point of humans and Earth, you guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you face during development because of that, or just in general?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges that we faced along this 5-year journey. We obviously had to adapt our workflow in these late years. So 2020 and 2021 was a really challenge for us, but it was something that we could adapt well, especially because even that we're based in Brazil, we're not only based in a single location in Brazil. We have people spread across the country. So it was easy enough to overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges since getting development kits and finding people that are really capable of helping us to deliver this amazing game. And that's what we gathered, and that's something that our company appreciates the most and really gives value, is the people that we work with. They were really incredible people, and they were really rare over here.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Kind of on that theme of development and challenges, given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came up for Dolmen?
Well, there are different point of views on that answer, especially because we started really small. And the journey of the game, for example, it started as a concept from a few friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged in two senses. And one of them, when we first started the game is huge and is insane and has a lot of background on it. It has all this universe around it. So a lot of it has been built. So people that loves lore and loves the universe that we are creating, they will have a lot to explore on that side. But the game from its original concept evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side, it advanced way better than we imagined. Back 2016, we didn't have all the resources that we have now. So, of course, we made some sacrifices here and there and in order to achieve our goal. But we're never happy with satisfied that point of satisfaction, you know. We want to reach more. At the end of the day, this is also a game and we are having fun, but on top of all, we want to make a brilliant game for the player.
Absolutely. And speaking about like making the game and the development of the game, seeing as you are lead programmer as well, what was the hardest part of making the actual game?
I believe that we could have gone into different options, especially, for example, we could have wanted to make it a game that was simpler or smaller or not have that many hours of gameplay. But we decided to go to a hardcore game, even that's a first game of our company. So we decided to go full in into that challenge. We faced a lot of challenges, as I mentioned previously, but I believe the hardest part of the game was finding the correct professionals and focusing on what we were doing, and keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now. So it was a difficult decision, but we wanted to make that. Regarding programming, and as a programmer, there's a lot of that I could keep talking about.
This is going on for way too long, sorry. I expected to see these new upcoming games from Koch Media in the Prime Matter label and some talks with developers, but it's
not
just interview after interview with the same questions. Of course, there are some interesting tidbits in between, but I think they could have done that in a press release and it would be much more comprised.
5 years of development, which is a crazy long time.
So if you want to keep watching that, you can do that on twitch.tv/we know something you don't know. You see it here. You with just a year.
most of all, we were always.
But I think there's not going to be that huge trailer or gameplay reveal that we're looking forward to. Otherwise, it would be very weirdly structured. So yeah, it's an interesting talk, and if you want to continue it, you can watch that. But we're calling it a day for today, and tomorrow we will stream
before
E3 starts, and we will stream the Ubisoft Forward conference.
So showcasing the game to
so
everyone.
Look out for our stream notification, and thanks for watching.
It was something incredible for us. It really made us feel proud of what we were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like everyone's missing that event feeling, right? When you actually get to see people on the games and you're like, oh wow, everyone's loving our games. I think it's something that everyone is missing, definitely.